Hey, this is Wilna again, and thank you for joining me for the second page that I'm going to make for the Neat and Tangled blog. I'm using their beautiful products, and the stamp set is simply called Together. And for this one, I'm also going to use my light molding paste for the background. So I'm using this floral stencil, and I'm just scraping the molding paste through the stencil. Very simple, very quickly, almost like you buttering bread. And once this is dry, I'm going to paint it. So I'm using three colors. I'm going to use yellow and a little bit of a darker yellow, but still yellow, so it still counts for one color. And then this beautiful almost like a lime green, and then I'm going to use turquoise. And you can see my turquoise palette there on the Kuretake watercolors is showing pan, as they would say. I have a teenage girl that's super into makeup, and she's like, it's showing pan. So you can see it's one of the colors I use the most. So let it dry completely, and then I'm just going to add a photograph. And I actually debated where to add the photo because I was so sad to cover up any of the watercolors that you can see on the page. I do apologize for the lighting on my video. It was just one of those days where it was sunny and then cloudy and sunny and cloudy, and my table is right next to a window. So I'm adding this flourish that I painted. You can find it on iheartstudio.ca /art1. It's a art journal series that I have started. Sorry for my terrible tenses there. And I created those products just for the class. And I'm going to stamp. So, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp the word together on transparency. And then I'm going to cut it out so that that is coming later. Sorry. First of all, I'm just going to stamp a few of the phrases. And I'm going to stamp it on just plain printing paper, and then I'm going to cut it out and use them as little banners or ribbons on my page. And I'll show you why I say that, because just the way that I'm going to adhere them with a little flourish or curve in them so that it looks like they're waving in the wind, but they're not really, it's just I have no idea what I just said. Okay, so I'm stamping the phrases, and I'm using archable ink. When I stamp on the transparency, I'm going to do it with StazOn pigment ink. Pigment ink is the best ink to use for stamping on anything like a photograph or anything shiny, where you just basically don't want the ink to flow or smudge. So I'm just tasting it here. I was thinking maybe I should cut it out, but then I decided no, I'll rather stamp it on a transparency. So I'm just going to cut out the words, and that's why I picked these phrases. I love phrases that you can stamp. It's probably my favorite stamps because I love the texture of the text. So I'm going to place the words in a way that it makes sense. So a little bit of hot glue, and then I'm just going to add true friends. Friends are always I'm actually going to change that a little bit. Yeah, I'm going to change it. It's a little high up, so I'm going to bring them down. Luckily, the hot glue was still fairly wet there, so maybe just place your phrases before you glue them. And you know what? It might not make super sense, but it's the together part will say, then it will read, together we can do anything, and you can then probably say, true friends are always together, and then with you is my favorite place to be. So, it's just a play on words. So that's basically it. Okay, and then I'm going to stamp the word together just on a transparency. You know what? Transparencies are one of my favorite things to use on scrapbook layouts. And I think the reason for that is simply that you can see what's underneath, right? I I love to work with artistic media on pages. So when you print on a transparency, then you can see through it. You can also see when I smudged with the StazOn ink, it doesn't smudge if I run my finger over the words, but with the other ink it did smudge. So just taste it and make sure, like, these transparencies are for inkjet printers. So there's a coarse side and a smooth side. So I just stamped on the coarse side, I think. But you know what? And now I'm just going to fuzzy cut it out. I'm a big fan of the Silhouette Cameo. I cut everything with that machine. So for me to cut anything with scissors is actually work. But yeah, for some reason I like the second stamp better. You saw I stamped it twice with the same load of ink. But I don't know, I just like the second one better. It's not a solid, I don't know, it's just a personal preference. And now I'm just going to use a little bit of hot glue. I also used just a little bit of washi to make sure that the phrases just stay on the page, because I wasn't sure how, and that just broke off. Be careful with the transparency, I was just going to make sure that the phrases stay together, because I did adhere them with hot glue and then I took them off again. So I just used that little bit of washi tape there. And that's how simple this page is, really. I try, and I'm just going to trim off a quarter of an inch around all four sides, and then I'm going to mount it on pattern paper just to stretch it out. So you know what, my approach to scrapbooking is very productive. I'm a big fan of productivity, not only in scrapbooking but in life. I really want to see what is the least amount of effort that I have to put into something with the maximum amount of beauty or aesthetic ability. I really think that that's one thing about scrapbooking. The days that scrapbook pages takes us 2 or 3 hours to make one page. I don't know, maybe for you, but in my lifestyle it won't work. Then I won't do scrapbooking at all. But if I can make a page in a question of a couple of minutes, if it takes me 20 minutes or 30 minutes, then it's doable. Then I absolutely love doing it. And you know what I always say, in art journaling, everything is out. All your supplies are out. You might as well make the most of it, right? So if you can make 2 or 3 or 4 pages in the span, then do it. It's absolutely worth it. But that's just my approach. It might not work for everyone. You might really frown at what I'm saying now, and it's okay. It's okay. But thank you so much for watching and bearing with me through the video. And if you haven't seen the last week's video, go and have a look on the Neat and Tangled blog. And here's the final page, stretched out and ready for its journaling. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the interwebs. Bye bye.